But what I will say is on tariffs specifically, I think the economic literature is pretty unambiguous and clear about how they're not good, how they're inflationary, because what happens when you impose a tariff is that any American company that is importing things from goods from a country that has a tariff placed on it, it is the American company that actually pays the tariff, right? So if there's a 49% tariff, which there is right now on Cambodia and anything that's imported from Cambodia, right? So it's inflationary because now things are going to get a lot more expensive, and the average American buying power is going to go down. Especially when you consider that a lot of our clothes, a lot of our plastic goods, a lot of our even like metal goods are almost all imported.
Yeah.
Now the Trump, like I guess the pro-Trump crowd, what they say is, and this is what Trump himself says, is that eventually, I think there was even I don't know how true this. I'm not going to quote this from Trump, but basically the thought process is that because basically the American companies, what they're going to do is they're going to realize that, hey, it's not worth importing these things and paying this extra tariff. So what we're going to actually do is now we're going to be incentivized to create our own manufacturing within the United States.
And I want to ask you about that. I'm gonna give you some moment to sip your tea.
Yeah,
I see you're
yeah.
grabbing for it, and I'll talk a little bit about it. And I want to hear your thoughts, right? Because I'm hearing from like the economists. I don't want to call them like Trump voters. I don't know what they voted for, but the economists are thinking like, hey, this might be like a great plan, right? This might make more jobs. Like there's this prediction, right? Like, hey, these manufacturers, instead of going to China or Thailand or wherever, they're going to say, hey, you know what? To avoid these tariffs, we're just going to start putting, our factories in America, and that's going to create jobs for Americans. Again, I don't really know much about the whole situation at all. I've heard that though, that like that'll be a good thing. But one thing that kind of doesn't make sense to me when I hear that is like, do we want factory jobs?
Yeah, okay, that's the perfect idea.
Yeah.
So before we even get into that again.